Hey guys, welcome back to science. So today we are going to begin on page 42 in your science textbook, so go ahead and get there. Before we start, we are going to go over our vocabulary, and we've got several words today. The first is niche, or niche. It's pronounced both ways, but I'm going to say it niche. So a niche is the role of an organism in a habitat. So, for instance, your niche in the school system is that you are a student and you do your role. You have different things that you do throughout the school day. My niche in our school system is that I teach you the things that you are then learning. All right, so we all have our different little niches in the school system and in the way that we do things. So they work together perfectly. All right. Then we have a food web. A food web is a system of several overlapping food chains. So we know what food chains are. Food chains is this little animal is eaten by the bigger animal, which is then eaten by the bigger animal. But we have overlapping ones where some animals eat the same animals, so those would be a food web. Then we have the word camouflage. And we've heard camouflage before. It's the coloring or patterns that allow a species to blend in with its habitat. So we learned about this in reading a few weeks ago as well. And then mimicry, the resemblance of one species to another. So that protects it. And then defense, a behavior that protects a species from harm. All right, so let's go ahead and start on page 42. Habitats and food webs. The role of an organism in its habitat is also called its niche. A part of its role is how it helps meet the needs of other organisms. For example, a mouse acquires water from its habitat. A mouse also gathers and eats the seeds of many plants. Some of the seeds are dropped in locations with good soil where the seeds will germinate and eventually grow into the plants. The same mouse will eventually become food for a hawk or a snake. The mouse's niche includes all the ways it interacts with the biotic and abiotic factors in its habitat. And if you remember, biotic means the living things in the habitat, and the abiotic factors are the things that are not living in the habitat. The food chains in an ecosystem overlap. Most animals are part of more than one food chain and eat more than one kind of food. This develops into a system called a food web. In order for the whole ecosystem to thrive, the relationship in the food web must be in balance. Let's look at that mushroom picture. It says, can you describe this organism's niche? So, mushrooms are a specific type of plant that will actually decompose or deconstruct dead tissue. So if an animal dies, it's actually called a decomposer. It'll take those elements of that animal or that living thing that died and make it into dirt again, basically. But it is also food. You can eat mushrooms, and animals come along in the forest and they eat mushrooms all the time. Okay, so it has several different things that it does. So it decomposes dead tissue, but then it's also food for animals. So that's its niche. Let's move along. The role of organisms in a system helps the system to stay in balance. For example, in the food web, predators and their prey are dependent on one another. What happens to one group affects the other. If the predators in an area could not catch their prey, they would starve. The prey would then become too numerous because of the shortage of predators. So, for instance, if we had lions that suddenly were not fast enough to catch their food, or the animals that they would eat, would be too populated and there'd be too many of them in the ecosystem. All right, so this is a system that works very well, and God created it specifically in this way so there wouldn't be too many of one organism on the earth. So where were we? Competition for food among the prey would cause many to die. On the other hand, if prey were always hunted and killed, eventually there would be a few of them left. This would cause predators to go hungry. So let's look at that caption. It says, this grouse blends into its habitat so well that the predators may struggle to see it. So would that be an instance of camouflage or mimicry? Let's look back at our vocabulary. It says the coloring or pattern that allows a species to blend into its habitat is camouflage. Mimicry is the resemblance of one species to another. It's not really mimicking any other species, so that would be camouflage. Okay? Predators and prey have both been designed so that their relationship stays in balance, as I was saying. Camouflage and mimicry are design features that help predators surprise prey and help prey to avoid predators. Camouflage is a coloring or pattern that helps a species to blend into its habitat. When one species resembles another species, it's called mimicry. Some species that are prey use behaviors called defenses to avoid being eaten. Running, staying alert, playing dead, and spraying chemicals are examples of defenses. When it said spraying chemicals, it reminded me of skunks and the awful stench they give off when they think that they're in danger. Both predators and prey are designed to survive. This design helps the ecosystem stay in balance. Okay, so let's look at that fish with teeth down there. That's pretty terrifying. It says, what design features help a piranha to catch and kill its prey? Well, we mentioned that it has teeth, so that is something that God gave the piranhas to be able to catch and tear apart their prey. Okay, so that's what's given off with the piranha. And then, as I mentioned, the skunk down below, it says, skunks spray foul-smelling chemicals to ward off predators. A human can smell a skunk from up to a mile away. That's pretty far. All right, so go ahead and complete pages 4.3a and 4.3b in your science floppy books, and that'll be it for today. See you guys next time.